What's up guys, it's Llamacorn here, back with another video, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a COD Zombies map tier list, but we're not going to be doing all of the maps. Only the Treyarch maps are what we are doing today. None of the World War II, IW, or AW maps, only Treyarch. That being said, let's get straight into the tier list. Okay, for Noct, see, Noct is the first. It was the first ever map for Treyarch Zombies. It was the first Zombies map we ever had. So that being said, I mean, it's great. It's also small. It's just a bunker. It just has a box. I mean, it's bare. That's all it is. So it's not like a great map, but it was the first. So we have to respect it. I think it's not a great map, but I do think it's decent enough to be in C tier. I definitely put Noct in C tier. Okay, for Verrucht. See, Verrucht is kind of the same as Noct, except they added perks. And Verrucht is in an asylum, and Verrucht is hard. Verrucht is cramped. Verrucht is very hard to play. But I don't think it's worse than Noct. I honestly would say Verrucht it might be better than Noct, but I don't know. I still think Verrucht belongs in C tier. Although they introduced perks and whatnot, I think Verrucht belongs in C tier along with Noct. Okay, Shinonuma. Shinonuma is, I'd say, better than both of these two, but they didn't introduce anything. They had the flogger. That was really cool, actually. So Shinonuma was a swamp in Japan. It was a Japanese facility researching 115. It was fun, and I love playing this map, but I honestly wouldn't say it's better than Verrucht. I'd say it's kind of on the same level as Verrucht for me, so I'm going to put it in C tier as well. Derice. Derice is a good map, don't get me wrong, okay? I think it's a GOAT in maps. But because they added the Pack-a-Punch, they added the way the power pulls down the bridge. I love that map. That's cool. It is cool. I mean, camping in the catwalk with your friends. I mean, everything about this map is just great. I mean, it is fun. It was innovative. I mean, Pack-a-Punch is all I really need to say about it, dude. Like, these other three maps here, they didn't have Pack-a-Punch, but then they added it, and it just made the game so much more fun and something more to work towards in your game. It made it so you could last longer, made your guns more powerful. It made you feel good about your game. So, that being said, I think Derice belongs in A tier. I don't think it's an S tier map, solely because it is small, it's simple, but they added so much. That's why I think it jumps well above the other three. Kino der Toten. Kino der Toten is, to me, the most overrated map on the planet Earth. This is the most overrated map of all time. I think it's also one of the most iconic, only because like a lot of people started on Black Ops 1, and I personally started on Kino der Toten as well. I love this map. But that being said, I don't think it is as good as everybody says it is. I don't think Kino der Toten is an A tier map. I think Kino is not better than Derice, and I don't think that Kino is an S tier map like everybody says. I loved the fact that they introduced the teleporter again. The setting, the feel of this map is great, but I still think it's super overrated. It's still a small map. It's still kind of boring after a little while, and for that reason, I'm gonna put it in B tier. 5. I personally don't like 5. So like on my liking of the map, I would put it low, but like on the standpoint of judging it as a map, I think it's a decent map, and I understand that 5 has its like people that like it. It has that type of feel to it that I could see why some people would like it. It's definitely not a map for casuals, and it's definitely not a map for people who are just looking to train around and play without really thinking, because this map is cramped, it can be hard, but that being said, I still think it's on the same tier as Kino. I think 5 is B tier. Okay, Ascension. This map is good. I love Ascension, okay? And I'm not putting it super high just to put it super high, but I genuinely think Ascension is better than Kino in 5. I think Ascension is better than these two maps. I think that Ascension is great because they introduced the lunar landers and all sorts of cool, like, the monkeys are annoying, but they're cool. They're a new thing that was different from dogs or Nova crawlers, you know? And I think it was great because Nova crawlers were new in Kino, but, you know, later on they kept adding them. But yeah, Ascension introduced a new mini-boss for us to fight that was cool. And although it gave you another sense of, like, something to work for, even when you were fully set up with all your perks and pack guns and whatnot, you still had to fight the monkeys so they didn't take your perks. So I think that's great on the standpoint of that. And the way you get Pack-a-Punch, you have to ride the 3 lunar landers and shoot off a rocket, that's cool. Like, that is so cool. This map also has really good training areas, and it also has good open areas to run around and train up zombies. So that's why I think this map is great, and that's why I put it in A tier. Okay, Call of the Dead. This map is great, okay? This map is just good. I love it. I mean, the wonder weapons weren't that great, but the fact that you had freaking George running around following you around, that's just funny. And I love it. I love playing Call of the Dead. I love being in the map. Although the high rounds suck, just having a chill game with your friends on Call of the Dead, it is just so fun. And honestly, I believe this is an A tier map as well. Okay, Shangri-La. Shangri-La is a map where, you know, like, it is hated by a lot of people and loved by a lot of other people. I think Shangri-La isn't the greatest map. I don't even really like playing it, but I don't think it's worse than some of the maps on this tier list. And honestly, I don't know a whole lot about Shang, but I do know that every time I play it, I normally don't have a whole lot of fun. So for that reason, I'm putting it in D tier. Moon. Okay, Moon is a very controversial map, mainly because there are a lot of bad things, but there's just as many good things. See, I loved the fact that they added, like it was so cool. Like, the wave gun was really cool. Like, it was a cool wonder weapon. And then, like, the fact that you could float around and have, like, anti-gravity, and the way they, you know, that's really cool. And then, like, but as well as, like, you could fall off the map, stuff like that. And also, they re-added Nova crawlers, and that was just kind of unoriginal, and stuff like that. And I don't know a whole lot about Moon, but I do know that I personally am kind of meh with it, and I don't really, like, have much of, like, an opinion on Moon. I don't know a whole lot about it, but that reason is why I'm gonna put Moon in C tier, because it's kind of in a middle ground, and I don't know a whole lot about it. Okay, Transit. Whew, okay. Transit. Let's talk about Transit. Okay, so Transit. Highly regarded as the worst zombies map of all time by the community. To me, I agree with them. It is F tier. Transit F tier. Worst map. It is just terrible. The only other exception is possibly Die Rise, but I'll get to that later. Transit is bad, okay? The devs were, like, ahead of their time, okay? This map was supposed to be the greatest map of all time. It was the biggest map that they had made in, like, it was the biggest map. It was huge. And on the old gen, they couldn't make it so that you could render in the areas, so they had to add fog, which kind of ruined it, so you couldn't see the map. Then they added denizens and lava to slow you down so you can render in areas faster. The way the bus works, you have to either sit there and wait for it or run through the fog, and it's very annoying. Denizens are very annoying. The Easter egg is just you sit there and wait for the players with the points to spin the box. You build all the buildables. You can get the Easter egg done on round 1, basically. The Easter egg is boring and non-interactive. It sucks. Nuketown Zombies. Oh boy, this is... Okay, Nuketown Zombies is, I'd say, an okay map, but it isn't a great map. Like, it's kind of boring, and you have to wait for the perks to come down, and if you don't get the perks you want, then you're screwed. And I've gone games without getting Jug until the very end, and it's like, it's just Nuketown with zombies, and it's kind of boring. There's not much to it. You have the ray gun and the Mark II, I think, but you really don't have any special wonder weapons. It's literally just a blown up Nuketown with zombies. It's pretty basic. That being said, I think it goes in D tier because it's not that fun. It's kind of boring. It's kind of dumb. Okay, Die Rise. Die Rise is possibly worse than Transit. I think Die Rise is bad. Okay, it has one redeeming quality, and that's the Sliquifier. The Sliquifier is on the top tiers of wonder weapons. I think it's definitely up there. I think it's a really cool wonder weapon. It was really innovative in a map full of bland, reused, like, crap that just isn't good. Die Rise is a skyscraper map that is all about verticality. It's all about being vertical. It's all about being up and down. And for a map that's all about height, it really doesn't make you feel like you're in the sky. Although Die Rise has one of the coolest skyboxes in all of these maps, you hardly get to see it. And for that reason, I put it in F tier with Transit. I'd say Die Rise is possibly worse than Transit, but that's up to you guys to decide in the comments. Let me know if you think Die Rise is worse than Transit or not, and let me know if my tier list is way different than you guys. Mob of the Dead. This map, I mean, there's not much explanation needed. It's S tier. It is an S tier map. Mob of the Dead is perfect. It is just beautiful. It is a beautifully made map. It is a map in Alcatraz prison. You play as 4 mobsters, and you're stuck in purgatory. The story is good. The map is aesthetically pleasing. It is easily traversable. It has good movement. It has good training areas. It has good wonder weapon. I mean, the acid gat is super fun. It has like the Mark II if you had buried, and it has the ray gun, and they introduced the death machine. They put the death machine in there that you could pull out of the box. That is super fun. I mean, the Easter egg is super cool, and the ending, you have to fight your own teammates on the bridge. That's really cool. And it's just the characters, the story, the map, just everything about Mob of the Dead says S tier, and that's why I put it there. Okay, Buried. I love Buried. That's my personal preference. I think Buried is so good, and I put it in S tier all the way, and I stick by that. Buried is such a good map. I mean, it's about a western town that is underground in Africa, and it ties so good into the storyline throughout the ether, and it's just so much better than Transit and Die Rise. Buried was so good. It was so fun, and it's just, I mean, they introduced Leroy. It's an NPC character that you give booze and candy to open doors and do other actions around the map for you. Like when you're doing the Easter egg. The Easter egg is fun, it's inclusive, it has steps that are fun for people to do, like the sharpshooter step and the bells and stuff. And Leroy, if you give him candy next to a crawler, he'll hold the crawler for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And stuff like that. If you give him candy next to the box, he'll hit the top of the box, and he'll lock the box in place for you. And if you give him booze, he charges and opens up things around the map. It's just so cool. And then they have the witch's mansion that you have to go through, and when you kill all the witches, you get a free perk drop. That's really cool as well. And the pack-a-punch is through a hedge maze. It's really cool. I think that this map was very innovative and really just them trying to make new things that are fun for us to play, because they also made the fountain portal where you have Leroy smash the fountain in the main area outside of the witch's hut or the witch's mansion, and then you blow up the fountain inside the maze, and then you can teleport back to the spawn area underneath of the spawn area down in that bottom part, which is really cool. I also love how you spawn in the top. I am above the town, but anyways, that's why I put it in S tier. I'm talking way too much about Buried. As you can tell, I really like Buried. Okay, let's move on. Origins. This map is incredibly good. I mean, just think about the run we had. Okay, it went Buried, Mob of the Dead, did Origins, and I was back with zombies. I mean, this was just incredible. This was so good. I mean, Origins was just insane. Everything about Origins. I mean, dude, they made it so the stabs are so good, and the robots, you have to get parts and the Easter egg and the robots, and they also tied the BO2 Origins Easter egg to the BO1 campaign with Mason in the 8 steps getting out of Vorkuta. That was so cool. I mean, this map is just great. It's in the trenches of World War II, which sounds bad, but it's actually really good. And the power is the 6 generators you have to turn on, and just this map is just great in general. Shadows of Evil. Shadows of Evil is so good. I mean, it is aesthetically just beautiful. It's a huge map. It's massive. It is fun. It has a really good Easter egg. The Apothegm Servant was really cool, which was the wonder weapon on that map. I mean, just everything about this map is just good. It just screams amazing. I mean, do I think it's better than Origins and Mob? No, I don't. But I definitely think this is 3rd place. For like, I think Buried is like up here as well, but I think it goes in this order right here. This is like the S tier order right here. And Shadows of Evil is just so good. Okay, Drak. Drak, another masterpiece. Another masterpiece. I mean, it's just Origins 2.0, and I love that. It didn't feel like a copy though. It was Origins, it was really like Origins, but it didn't feel like they were copying. It takes place in a castle. There were 4 elemental bows that you could make in that map by doing certain steps that you had to do per bow. And the bows were cool, they were fun, and they were good. And that was one thing about this map that just makes it great. And the Easter egg, the boss fight is cool on this map. I think it's really cool. And for that reason, I put it in S tier. This map is super good. And honestly, I'd say it's above Buried in this order. Zetsubo no Shima. Zetsubo no Shima came after Drak for DLC 2 of BO3. And after having these 5 maps, this amazing run of maps, they came out with Zetsubo no Shima. And this got hated on because it was not near as good as any of these maps here. And that's why most people put it so low. I don't think it's that bad of a map, but I definitely don't think it lives up to what its previous maps were. So for that reason, I put Zetsubo in C tier. Okay, Garad Krovi. Garad Krovi is really cool because one thing that really sticks out is the the dragon is cool, and you ride the dragon, and the introduction of the Ray Gun Mark III, which that gun is insanely good, by the way. So for that reason, I put Garad Krovi in A tier. Revelations. Revelations was the last map of BO3. It was the map that ended this. It didn't end the cycle, but it finished the cycle. It completed the cycle. So for the storyline, and we just restarted basically. It ended the cycle, and it was the end of the storyline, or so we thought until BO4 came out. But Revelations to me was kind of unoriginal, which I guess I get it. It was just a combination of all of the maps combined, basically. And it was just pretty much just like an unoriginal. I mean, it was fun, but it was unoriginal, and it wasn't like super innovative. They didn't add a whole much. They just kind of took old stuff and slapped it together into a map and called it Revelations. And for that reason, I put it in B tier. Blood of the Dead. Of course, it's the remake of Mob of the Dead from BO4, and this map is just not good. Like, you would think, hey, it's Mob of the Dead, you know, it should at least be up here. Just no, it's not. This map, it felt like they made changes just to make changes. I mean, it was just like, oh, it's just not good. I mean, they introduced the Magma Gat as like the new wonder weapon, which is the Blunder Gat, and then you could put it into the furnace and like make it into the Magma Gat and whatnot. And that's why I put it on D tier. Okay, Classified. Classified is the 5 remake. They remastered 5 and put like our original 4 characters instead of Kennedy and whatnot from 5. The Classified is, I just go back and talk about 5, and that's exactly what I think about Classified, which is why I put it in B tier, along with 5. Okay, Voyage of Despair. Voyage of Despair is on the Titanic. It is the Chaos storyline. It is just, I don't know what to say about this map. This map is just bad. Like, I can see why some people would like it, but I genuinely don't like playing this map. The Kraken is a cool wonder weapon, I guess, but it's just not my thing. And this map just altogether just isn't fun. It should have been really good. Like, everybody was, like, it was speculated to be, like, really good, and it just wasn't, which is why I put it in D tier. Okay, 9. This map was phenomenal. This map was so good. I think this map belongs way up here somewhere, because, I mean, this map was just fun. It was open in the spawn area. You could train and spawn. The map was just, it's just good. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I do know 9 is really fun, and I love this map, which is why I put it in A tier. Dead of the Night. I've never played it. I have never played it. I don't know, but according to some of the fans, they say it's bad. Never played Dead of the Night. But from what I know about it, I think it's a C tier map, just because I know I've seen gameplay of it, and I know that Dead of the Night has some pretty cool wonder weapons, like the elemental wonder weapons or whatever. I'm not sure. I think that's actually Ancient Evil, but I don't know anything about Dead of the Night. I'll just put it in C tier. Don't get mad at me, please. Okay, Ancient Evil. Again, don't know much about it. I do know it's a pretty good map. I've seen gameplay and it seems really fun, but I didn't buy this DLC, so again, I'll just put it in C tier for the sake of keeping it consistent. Alpha Omega. I know a lot about Alpha Omega. This map belongs either down here in F tier. Yeah, I'm putting it in F tier. Alpha Omega is bad. Alpha Omega is trash. It is unoriginal. It's Nuketown. Again. It has Nova Crawlers. Again. It has the Raygun Mark II, but elemental. So, again, the Raygun Mark II, but they put elemental upgrades on it. And it's just unoriginal. Everything about this map is unoriginal, and the fact that it's on BO4 just makes it even worse. Okay, Tog der Toten. Tog der Toten is fun. It's the Call of the Dead remake. I think Tog der Toten is just as good as Call of the Dead. If not, maybe a little bit better. I don't hate. I think it's really good because Tog der Toten, I still get upset about Tog der Toten too, because Tog der Toten was the end of BO4 and the end of the Ether storyline. And our characters died at the end. And this map, I teared up at the end, because I was sad to see them go. But I think this map is fun, and I think it belongs to be on the same level as Call of the Dead. Okay, D Machine, Cold War, Dark Ether storyline. This map belongs. I think it's a good map. I think the Wonder Weapon was kind of bad. The Die Machine, it's not that great. I mean, it kind of sucks. The Ray Gun was overpowered at the start, and then they nerfed it. But D Machine is fun, but I don't think it's as good as like some of these maps. I think it's fun. I think it's playable, but so I'm gonna put it in C tier because of that. I think the same thing with Firebase Z. Firebase Z is the same thing as D Machine. Like I said, it's fun, but it's not great. I think it's a middle ground map. They added some new like bosses and stuff, and they brought in some old ones and all that. But in reality, it's just not that great. That's why I put that in C tier as well. Anyways, guys, this is my tier list. Feel free to go to the comments and hate on me if you want. Feel free to go in the comments if you agree with me. I don't know. Tell me if you do. And if you did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. There's a glitch going around, and sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. So make sure you go down there and check. And anyways, guys, see you later.